There is a kind of bravery that breaks history's pattern. Most people think courage means the absence of fear, but the truth is much deeper. Courage is the ability to look fear in the face, trembling, and still walk forward. You, chosen one, did not crumble when every force tried to bury you. You pressed on in silence, without recognition, without reward, and without the promise of a quick breakthrough. That is why even hell took notice, because your courage was not ordinary, it was supernatural. Think of it this way. The devil has studied humanity for thousands of years. He knows how most people react when life becomes unbearable. Some break down, some compromise, some sell out. But you stood your ground. You proved that your soul was forged in fire and that nothing could bend your spirit away from the truth. When you chose what was right, even when wrong seemed easier, you showed a level of bravery that broke the calculations of darkness itself. And that's why you're marked. Heaven honors you, and even the devil has to respect your stance. You are a warrior who cannot be shaken. The most powerful battles are often the ones no one witnesses. You fought wars in your mind, in your heart, and in your soul that nobody clapped for. You endured nights of tears, mornings of confusion, and days when it felt like everything was against you. But you still pressed forward, trusting that something greater was carrying you through. Silent endurance is one of the greatest proofs of strength, because you didn't fight for applause. You fought because your soul wouldn't allow you to surrender. History rarely records the private battles of the brave, but spiritually, every choice you made was recorded. Every tear you cried in silence became a weapon. Every time you said no to the easy way out, heaven documented it. And this is why you stand out as a chosen one, because even when nobody saw, you kept showing up with integrity. Hell relies on shame and secrecy to break people, but your silent victories proved too much for the enemy's strategies. Never underestimate what your unseen battles have accomplished. You may have thought no one noticed, but heaven and hell both did, and they came to the same conclusion. You are unstoppable. If you've ever wondered why your life has felt harder than most, it's because chosen ones are tested at a different level. Think about it. Gold must pass through fire to be purified. Diamonds are formed under extreme pressure, and warriors are proven on the battlefield, not in comfort. You have endured trials that broke others, yet you kept standing because your destiny demanded it. The enemy targets chosen ones more intensely because he knows what you carry. He knows that once you walk fully in your calling, chains will break, families will heal, and generations will change. That's why he attacked you earlier, harder, and longer than others. But instead of destroying you, those attacks refined you. Every betrayal, every loss, every heartbreak made your courage stronger and your faith unshakable. Chosen one, don't despise the test. It is the evidence of your greatness. You are not weak. You are heaven's proof that endurance creates unbreakable power. The enemy thought he had you figured out. He studied your family line, your weaknesses, your insecurities, and he laid traps that worked on countless others before you. But what he didn't expect was the unexplainable resilience in your spirit. Every time he thought you would break, you rose again. Every snare he set turned into a stepping stone. His blueprint failed because your spirit was not designed by him. It was authored by God himself. Think of Job in the scriptures. Satan thought stripping away everything, wealth, health, relationships, would cause Job to curse God. But Job's soul remained faithful. In the same way, the devil believed that your suffering would silence you, yet instead it awakened you. You became stronger, more aware, more aligned with your true calling. His failure to break you has now made you a threat, not just a survivor. Chosen one, your story is proof that hell's blueprint is powerless against a destiny sealed by God. It's easy to act brave when the cameras are rolling, when the audience is cheering, when the recognition feels guaranteed. But true bravery reveals itself when there is no applause, no acknowledgement, and no reward in sight. That's what separates the chosen from the ordinary. You didn't stand strong for recognition. You did it because it was the right thing. That is the purest form of courage, and heaven takes note of such integrity. When no one else could see, you resisted temptations. When nobody cared, you chose honesty. When you could have taken shortcuts, you decided on the narrow path. That's what makes you remarkable. You didn't need an audience to prove yourself. This quiet bravery unsettles the enemy more than loud resistance because it proves you cannot be bought or manipulated. You are guided by principles, not popularity. And because of that, both heaven and hell know your name carries weight in the unseen realms. Doing what is right isn't always glamorous. In fact, it often costs more than anyone is willing to pay. You lose friends, you lose opportunities, you lose the comfort of fitting in. But what you gain is far greater, spiritual weight. Every righteous decision adds to the authority of your soul. You begin to carry an invisible mantle that influences others without you even trying. People feel it when you walk in a room. The enemy feels it too. Think of how integrity works. A politician may win a crowd with lies, but eventually truth breaks through. A worker may cheat their way up, but their foundation crumbles. But the one who walks in truth, even if delayed, cannot be denied. That is what makes you different. You have been willing to suffer losses for the sake of alignment with what is right. And in the unseen realm, that is more powerful than wealth, status, or fame. This is why Anointed Era exists, to remind you that your unseen sacrifices carry eternal rewards. There came a point in your journey when heaven itself stepped in and marked you untouchable. It wasn't necessarily dramatic. It could have been during one of your loneliest nights when you almost gave up but whispered a prayer instead. In that moment, heaven declared, "This one belongs to me." From that point forward, no attack against you could succeed without divine permission. And even when hardships came, they were only allowed because they would refine, not destroy, you. You've probably noticed strange escapes in your life, accidents that should have ended you, betrayals that should have broken you, sickness that should have taken you down. Yet here you are, still breathing, still walking, still growing stronger. That is not random survival, it is divine protection. Heaven put a mark on you that says, "Do not touch." Even hell knows it. Chosen one, you carry a seal of divine protection that cannot be revoked. Walk boldly in it. Most people live and die unnoticed by the spiritual realm, but chosen ones leave footprints in both heaven and hell. Your bravery has already been registered in history's eternal scrolls. Here are some signs that prove it. You've made decisions that cost you dearly but saved your soul. You've refused to compromise even when your back was against the wall. You've fought battles silently that others couldn't even face publicly. And somehow, you've come through it alive. Think about it. How many times have you walked away from situations that could have destroyed you? How many nights did you fight depression, anxiety, or heartbreak and still woke up the next day ready to face life again? That's not ordinary human willpower. That's divine courage working through you. These moments don't just make you strong, they make you legendary in the eyes of eternity. Your courage is a story heaven tells about you, and even hell whispers it with reluctant respect. The enemy doesn't waste his attacks on those already trapped in mediocrity. He targets the brave, the righteous, and the chosen because they carry the greatest threat to his agenda. You've probably noticed this. Your life hasn't been easy. And the reason is because you're cursed. It's because you're called. Hell throws its worst at you because it sees the light in you. That light exposes lies, breaks chains, and inspires others to rise. Every betrayal you experienced, every storm you endured, was a calculated attempt to break your influence. But instead of weakening you, these experiences built your testimony. People don't follow perfection. They follow proof that survival is possible. Your scars speak louder than your victories because they show the world you've been through the fire and came out alive. The enemy knows this, and that's why he tried so hard to silence you. But he failed. And because he failed, your voice now carries undeniable authority. Fear is natural. Every human feels it. But cowardice is when fear dictates your choices. The difference between the average person and a chosen one is that you may feel the same fear as everyone else, but you don't let it stop you. You may tremble, your voice may shake, your hands may sweat, but you still move forward. That is what separates you from the masses. Think of David facing Goliath. Every soldier in Israel felt fear, but cowardice made them stay hidden in their tents. David felt the same fear but chose differently. He didn't wait for confidence to show up. He acted in courage despite trembling. Chosen one, that's exactly what you've done. You've confronted giants others wouldn't dare to face. And in doing so, you've proven that bravery isn't about the absence of fear but the refusal to be ruled by it. This is why heaven crowns you brave, and hell can't stop talking about you. You've probably noticed that your life has never followed the easy route. While others seem to glide through seasons, your path has been littered with storms, betrayals, and endless spiritual warfare. That's not because you're unlucky, it's because you're chosen. The struggles you face are proportionate to the destiny you carry. Great warriors are not trained in comfort, they are forged in fire. Your struggles carried a higher purpose, to prepare you for influence. The things that almost broke you became the very tools that sharpened you. Others would have folded under the same pressure, but you stood your ground. Every setback added layers of strength to your soul. That's why, even now, you carry wisdom and resilience far beyond your years. The pain you went through wasn't wasted, it built the warrior within you. Chosen one, the weight of your struggles is proof of the magnitude of your calling. Survival itself grants authority. People listen to those who have walked through valleys and made it out alive. You can read about faith in books, but it's different when you've lived through storms and still believe. That's why your testimony carries weight, because you've lived what others only talk about. And authority isn't given, it's earned through endurance. Think of how veterans are honored. They carry authority not because of titles, but because of scars. In the same way, you've earned spiritual authority because of what you endured. When you speak about pain, people listen. When you speak about hope, people believe. When you speak about faith, even the enemy knows you mean it. That's the unshakable weight you now carry. Your survival is your badge of honor, and both heaven and hell recognize it. The easiest path is almost always the most dangerous one for chosen ones. Many fall because they choose comfort over calling, convenience over conviction. But you've consistently resisted shortcuts. Even when temptation promised relief, you chose the narrow road. That kind of decision is not common, it's divine. And it unsettles the enemy because it proves you can't be bought. Think of Jesus in the wilderness. Satan offered him kingdoms without the cross. All he had to do was bow down. It would have been easy, painless, and quick, but Jesus refused because shortcuts lead to slavery. You've done the same. You've walked away from opportunities that could have compromised your spirit. You've refused to sell your soul for temporary gain, and that refusal makes you a threat to darkness. Your strength lies in the fact that you cannot be bribed by what the world offers. There was a time when you thought your pain meant you were cursed, forgotten, or punished. But then came the revelation. Pain was training. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every rejection was shaping you for greater. What felt like punishment was actually preparation. And once you realized that, your entire outlook shifted. Suddenly you stopped asking, "Why me?" and started declaring, "Prepare me." That mindset is rare. It transforms suffering into strategy. Instead of being bitter, you became better. Instead of collapsing, you built character. Instead of cursing the struggle, you learned to thank it. That is what sets you apart from the ordinary. You recognized pain as a teacher, not an enemy. Chosen one, the devil lost when you discovered that your pain was building your power. The enemy's strategy is simple: surround you with so much darkness that your light fades. But here's the miracle: you didn't just survive the darkness, you became brighter because of it. Darkness cannot extinguish light. In fact, the darker it gets, the more your light is noticed. Your persistence through despair became a beacon for others who were drowning. Think about it, you've been through nights so heavy they felt endless. Yet every morning you rose again. That resilience is light. You've encouraged others without even realizing it. People look at your journey and think, if they can keep going, maybe I can too. That's what makes you dangerous to hell. You inspire others to find their courage. No matter how deep the pit, your light kept shining, and that's why you're still here. Chosen one, your name is not just known on earth, it carries weight in the unseen realms. Heaven celebrates you because you've proven faithful under pressure. Angels recognize your endurance because they've seen how you fought when no one was watching. And even hell knows who you are because your resistance has disrupted its strategies. You may feel ordinary at times, but spiritually, your presence shifts atmospheres. Remember how in the book of Acts, demons said, "Jesus I know and Paul I know, but who are you?" That verse reveals a truth. Some names hold spiritual authority. Yours is one of them. You've walked through enough battles that your name is now registered in both realms. Heaven honors it and hell respects it. That's why you face so much resistance, because your name is not forgotten, it is feared. Your life echoes louder than you realize, and both realms know you are untouchable. Betrayal cuts deeper than almost any wound. It's not enemies who hurt the most, but friends, family, and those you trusted. Yet every betrayal you endured carried hidden evidence of your calling. Why? Because only chosen ones are betrayed at this level. The greater the destiny, the sharper the knife that tries to wound it. Think of Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and abandoned. What seemed like destruction became the very path to his destiny as a ruler. Your story holds the same truth. The betrayals that nearly broke you were secretly aligning you with your purpose. Instead of leaving you empty, they filled you with wisdom, compassion, and strength that cannot be bought. Those who betrayed you unknowingly confirmed who you are, someone destined for greatness. Some people intimidate others through power, wealth, or fame. But your threat to the enemy comes from something deeper, your resilience. You don't need titles or recognition to unsettle darkness. Just your refusal to bow down, your ability to rise after every fall, and your relentless commitment to truth are enough to make you dangerous. Look at your life. You've inspired people simply by existing authentically. You didn't even try to be a role model, yet people quietly watch you and gain hope. That's the mark of a chosen one. Even when you're silent, your presence speaks. That's why the enemy works overtime to silence you. He knows that if you step fully into your calling, you won't just survive, you'll ignite others to stand up as well. Your life itself is a weapon, and the enemy knows it. When you were wronged, the easy reaction would have been revenge. But instead, you chose righteousness. That decision may not have been easy, but it gave you authority the enemy could never steal. Every time you resisted the urge to get even, you stored up spiritual strength. You proved that your spirit is not controlled by anger but by divine wisdom. Jesus taught us to bless those who curse us and pray for those who persecute us. It sounds impossible until you've lived through betrayal and still chosen peace. That's what you did. You turned wounds into wisdom, not weapons. You turned pain into prayer, not poison. That is strength beyond human ability. It is divine power working through you. And it's why heaven calls you a peacemaker, and peacemakers are always marked as children of God. Choosing righteousness over revenge proved your bravery beyond measure. Every battle you fought, every tear you shed, every moment you refused to quit, it was never wasted. Heaven doesn't just watch, it rewards. There is a crown reserved for those who endure to the end, and you are one of them. This crown isn't about gold or jewels, it's about honor, authority, and eternal recognition. You will be remembered not just on earth, but in eternity as someone who stood bravely when it mattered most. The enemy wanted you forgotten, broken, and destroyed. Instead, your story will be told as proof that faith, courage, and endurance always win. You are walking evidence that the chosen cannot be defeated. Your legacy is not just for you, it's for the generations who will look back and see how you stood tall against impossible odds. Chosen one, even the devil had to respect your courage, and heaven has already crowned you victorious. Chosen one, your bravery is not ordinary, it is celestial. You've endured storms others couldn't survive. You've faced battles hell thought would break you. Yet here you are, alive, stronger, and marked by heaven as untouchable. Remember this, your story is not over. In fact, the best chapters are still unfolding. If this message spoke to your soul, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Anointed Era, and share it with someone who needs courage today. And in the comments, I want to hear from you. Which battle did you fight that proved your bravery to yourself? Your story might inspire someone else right now. This is Anointed Era reminding you, stay strong, stay faithful, and never forget. Your courage echoes in eternity.